Brave. Commander type. Hey again, Robert184, Gundam.tk. You've seen the parts, now it's time to turn this into the mobile suit you see there on the cover. The completed Brave still takes all the best features of the flag, but to me it seems a little bit more filled out. And I think that the color mix of the blue and the black, along with that little bit of white, and especially the clear orange in the face, really makes this look very impressive. In terms of mobility, you've already seen in the parts that the ankles move very well, but just be careful of the polycaps falling out. The knees bend as you've seen here, but what's sort of cool about this is that the front skirt is on a pivot mechanism. That's just a part from the D-plate, I believe. And when you bring that forward, the skirt is able to come forward and kick. And then you can see that that's fallen off there, but you are able to bring the foot forward fairly well. Off to the side though, it's a different story. You get it off to about there, and then it's going to pop right off. Same thing with the arms up here. I was a little disappointed. I figured that that indent there would allow it to bend more in, but you're not going to get much more than that. Although, of course, you can spin this out of the way, but any more than that, and off it goes. You've already seen that this part here can detach if you try to rotate it too harshly, and the arms, again, are going to give you over the 90, and the head is just on a single ball joint, so don't expect too much in terms of that. So I'd like to say good posability, except for the fact that, well, everything can fall off if you're not careful. When you add the binders to the relatively stable holes here on the back, with the side binders on here, you're going to get a few weight issues, but that can be corrected by just sliding the legs back. And surprisingly, I was a little bit worried about those ankles at the beginning, but so far not a lot of problems. But here you start to get into the issues of just a little bit of general looseness. As I mentioned before, these side binders don't lock into place all that well, so when you're maneuvering them or positioning them, you're going to be able to squeeze them together, so you're always going to have to get them open into that just right position. And of course, if they're swung too far forward, they're going to get in the way of the arm mobility, and as it is right now, don't expect to move the arms very far back. But because you do have a fair bit of mobility here, I think those problems can be neutralized. With the binders attached, you can also see here that the Brave is going to expand a little bit more width-wise and of course depth-wise. But at height, at 20.2 meters, this is really towering over the high-grade 00 Quanta figure. He also really makes the real grade RX-78-2 Granddaddy Gundam look tiny in comparison. The beam rifle just slides into the hands. You don't have to take it apart, but you do take the hands apart when you're putting in the beam saber. With such imaginatively designed ankles, you can actually do a lot of different poses with this thing on the ground. But as with most of the examples that they show off on the side of the box and the fact that they give you the display stand, you'd be silly not to take advantage of those possibilities. And how could I have forgotten to add that in? The D-plate attachment is also used to attach this when he's in his stand position. And of course, because of the legs having their good mobility, except for off to the side, it's not that I had things falling off here, but it's not exactly like you can move the arms all that much before they do want to fall off. So you have to be a little bit careful. However, you are able to bring these out of the way with no problem, so they're not going to get in the way of very many poses whatsoever. The all-white beam saber does come across as looking horrible, but it is something that if you just painted it up with a little bit of effort, I'm sure that you can turn it into some pretty cool poses, and I'm glad that it comes with it rather than not. With the waist skirt here, you can see that it's sort of, I've got one over the top, and otherwise you'd have to pop that right out of position. But as soon as I tried to do that, it was popping off and I had legs fall off, just getting it into this kind of simple pose. Although the effect is pretty pleasing overall. So far I've had no weight issues whatsoever with the GN beam rifle, which in a high grade is always good, especially considering that it's polycapless. But otherwise it's just the general looseness of the body when you're trying to get everything into position, like these things here on the side binders. But again, the resulting pose is quite impressive. That wraps up my review of the stand position or mobile suit. Stay tuned, of course, for the transformation and my final verdict. Thanks for watching, everybody. And how could I have forgotten to add that in? That would have changed the height comparisons completely.